Just about got attacked by a bird. Well, what's up guys? This is Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and in today's video we're going to be talking about growing cucumbers in a 5-gallon bucket. So a couple weeks ago I showed you guys how I planted these cucumbers in 55-gallon barrels, and look at these things. They are exploding. I'm not even gonna try to pull the roots out anymore, there's no way, but look at these massive cucumbers. These things are loaded down with cucumbers. Now I didn't get this one on a trellis, at least not yet, but it's got cucumbers growing off of it. And when I posted that video about growing these cucumbers in 55-gallon barrels with no soil in just a water and fertilizer solution, I probably had 500 questions. Things like, could you put more than one plant in a barrel? Well, yeah, you drill 2 holes, drop them in there. It's going to use water about twice as fast, so I don't know if that barrel would last all season. Now, a lot of people said, if it uses all the water, can you just fill it back up? Well, if the water goes way down and the roots are way down here, and you fill that barrel all the way back up to the top, you will absolutely drown those roots. So I think you would be good adding some water, but you definitely don't want to fill it all the way back up, because those roots have to get oxygen and you would drown them. So if your water level got low and you filled it back, say halfway, you'd probably be okay. Then I had a ton of questions of, well, we see that you can do that in a 55-gallon barrel, but can you do it in a 5-gallon bucket? Well, here's the thing. This is a 55-gallon barrel, and we're putting close to 50 gallons of water in it probably, because we don't fill it all the way completely full. Well, a bucket's only going to give you 5 gallons. I think it could be done, but you're going to run out of water pretty quickly. I haven't tried it yet, so today we're going to be building a 5-gallon bucket cucumber barrel, basically. And my thought process is, if we do this right, we could hang it from the handle from one of the rafters and let cucumbers just rain down from the ceiling of the greenhouse. So let's get started. So here's what I'm going to be using to start my cucumber plant in and see if this is going to work. Now it's a mismatch set here. I'm using a black bucket because I think black would prevent algae growth. I'm afraid if I just used a white bucket, the algae would build up in there pretty fast, because we're not putting anything in here to prevent algae growth, and all I had laying around was a white lid. So it's a mismatched set, and I've got 1 net cup. Now you don't have to use a net cup. You could use like a little red solo cup and cut holes all around the bottom. Anything that'll hold the cucumber plant to where when you cut a hole in the lid, you can drop it down in there and it sits down in the water. So I'm just going to be putting 1 plant in there. I'm going to use a net pot. I'm going to trace out a circle here and cut a hole. I don't have a hole saw perfect, so I'm going to use a knife, but it'll be ugly, but it'll work. So let's cut a hole so we can get our net pot in there. And then fertilizer, I'm going to be using the Master Blend fertilizer again, and I used a little calculator online. It's not perfect, but for 5 gallons of water you're going to use about a tablespoon. I don't have a scale that measures in grams, or we would get exact, but about a tablespoon of the Master Blend 41838, about a tablespoon of 1500 calcium nitrate, and half a tablespoon of Epsom salt. And we'll get that mixed up when we get our water ready to go in. Yeah, perfect fit. So here's what we're looking for. Cut a hole in the lid, drop the cup down in, the camera will focus, and there's what you're left with. This is where our roots will hang down inside the bucket, just like this. Alright, so we got our bucket ready, and as I said, we're using Master Blend fertilizer. I bought this on Amazon. Guys, if you didn't catch the video on how I did these, I talked all about this Master Blend fertilizer. It's not something I came up with. I borrowed this idea from pretty much every hydroponic grower out there. It's probably the most popular hydroponic fertilizer there is. So Master Blend's a 3-way blend, and you can buy this stuff on Amazon in small quantities. So I'll leave a link in the description box down below if you're looking for something like that to get started. So as I said, I used a conversion chart, a little calculator online. I found a website, and it calls for, and this isn't exact, but approximately 1 tablespoon of the 1500 calcium nitrate, approximately 1 tablespoon of the Master Blend 41838, and half a tablespoon of Epsom salt. Let's get these out of the way because we don't want to get water on those. I'm going to mix this up really well before we put it in. Look at that green slimy looking stuff. The Epsom salt takes a little extra mixing. It doesn't blend as easily as the first 2 ingredients, but now we're going to add our water to the bucket, and it's important when we put our net cup in there, we don't want to drown the cucumber plant, so we're just barely going to get this filled up to where when it's level that this is just barely touching the water. Alright, I don't know if you'll be able to see this in this bucket, but here's what I'm talking about. So I don't fill the bucket completely full. You guys may not be able to see this, but when I drop my net pot in there, the water just barely, I've got maybe 1/8 of an inch of water in the bottom of the net cup. I hear little footsteps. Somebody's joining me.
Oh my god! 10 foot long already!
What's up, man? What are you talking about?
Watermelon seed.
Oh, yeah. Our little watermelon plant. We didn't plant this watermelon.
I know, but there's flowers, so we're gonna have some watermelons soon.
You think so?
And me and Leon's challenge has already begun, and I guess we're winning so far.
So this was just a random watermelon, I guess, that either a seed fell or a watermelon rotted and laid on the ground last year, and it's taken off. So I've got my bucket ready to go, got the lid sealed on here. It just clips on, so black bucket hopefully is going to prevent some of the algae growth. We've got our net pot ready to go. I've got a baby little cucumber plant that I started in a little soil block, and we're just going to put that little cucumber in here and pack. I just bought these on Amazon also. This is clay pebbles. If you're familiar with any kind of hydroponic growing, everyone uses these they're just little clay pebbles, and they're very light and they hold moisture. So we're going to put those little guys in there and pack our little cucumber plant.
One more. I'll set that right there.
Pack all these around our little cucumber plant.
Oh, there's one got in the bucket.
It's all right. So here's what you're left with. One little cucumber plant packed in there in his new little home. And when we set it down in here, it's just barely going to touch the water, and that soil and those clay pebbles will just wick water to the roots. And like I said, we don't want to drown the plant, so if we filled this up too far, we would drown the roots the first day. This would be a dead cucumber plant. So hopefully this works. As I said, I've not grown cucumbers in a 5-gallon bucket. I have a few concerns, but it's an experiment for you guys, and you never know, this may work out perfect. All right, so there you have it. I'm not gonna hang this guy up from the rafters just yet. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm just gonna set it on top of this other barrel that's loaded with a giant cucumber growing already. But I'm just gonna set it here so I can check on it, make sure the roots do good, or are actually making it down into the water. I'll come out here a couple times throughout the day for the next couple days and make sure it's not drying out. But cool little experiment, just something to try, because so many of you have asked, hey, can you do this in this? And I think so, but there are a couple concerns I have. One of those being, this is such a small container, there's not a lot of water, and we're in summertime in Oklahoma and it gets close to 100 degrees on a regular basis. Plus we're just barely, but we are inside the high tunnel. I'm afraid the water's going to get really hot in here. I don't know what that'll do to the roots on that cucumber plant, where the difference with the big barrel, it would take a long time to heat this water up versus the amount of time it would take to heat this water up, especially with it being in a black bucket. That's going to absorb more heat. But I was afraid the white bucket would promote too much algae growth. It'd get too much sunlight in there. I don't know, we'll see. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm proving that you can grow cucumbers in barrels. I mean, that guy's reaching up to the roof of my high tunnel and it's just loaded down. I also have cucumbers on a trellis in the raised bed. They're producing cucumbers too. Now, a lot of people said, yeah, you can grow a cucumber like that, but is it gonna have any flavor? Well, according to my personal results, this right here tastes a heck of a lot better than a grocery store cucumber. And there's a really good chance that most of the cucumbers you're eating in the grocery store were grown hydroponically. Maybe not all of them, but I bet you most of the year, most of the cucumbers you buy were grown in a hydroponic solution in a greenhouse in some other country. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it tastes great grown right here in my barrel in the water with fertilizer. So guys, that's all I've got for today. If you got any other experiments with cucumbers or things that you would like me to try, let me know in the comments section down below. And remember, I'll leave a link to that Master Blend fertilizer and the clay pebbles. I'll put those in the description box down below. I'm not an expert when it comes to this hydroponic stuff. I'm just learning, trying things out. I know it works great with cucumbers. You guys have asked a million questions on what else you can grow that way. If you just Google or YouTube Kratky method hydroponics, you'll see hundreds of videos of what all you can grow in a hydroponic solution. Most people use a shallow tray and they grow lettuce and bok choy and greens, things like that. Cucumbers, I've seen them in a trash can. This idea in the 55-gallon barrel came from my buddy Leon from Gardening with Leon. I don't know if you could do tomatoes in these or not. Haven't tried that, but let me show you a little secret real quick. Something I haven't showed you guys yet. We are trying, here, with success so far, a watermelon. Check it out. We'll see how that goes. That's the only little watermelon I've got growing like that so far. So I think watermelons might work. We're gonna test it out because I love learning new ways of gardening, learning new ways of growing food. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.